of the neon city, looking for love, looking for life, looking for young and pretty. Sleep in the day, roam in the dark, there in the shadows of your mind. Look in their eyes, see your life end, till the night you're born again. Is it fantasy? Is it reality? Is it fantasy? Oh no, they're coming to take you home. Wake to the beat of the heart, beat of the driving rhythm. Promise you love, world without end, live for eternity, and then paradise lost, paradise found, fall through the looking glass. Innocence lost, eternal nights, eternal promises. Is it fantasy? Is it reality? Is it fantasy? Oh no, they're coming to take you
Conditioned by indoctrination, conditioned by society. You're a victim of the digital age, a 21st century casualty. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Conditioned by misinformation, it's just the media telling us lies. Decipher fiction from the truth, society's slow and tragic demise. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Everyone's got their fucking opinion.
What's up, gang? This is it. You've arrived. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. Good to see everybody. It's been a minute. Last show we did was the Vinny Stigma show, which was quite a blockbuster. That was a pretty big show as far as the show goes. Is that right? Kreuzberg, Germany, watching me. Hendrik, Kreuzberg. What's happening in Kreuzberg? Yo, what's up, Dom? The Brooklyn people are turning out for this one. Is that right? Some Brooklyn stuff going down? Good. What's up, Paulie? Victoria, I hope you're well. Robert Hawk in Scotland. What do you say? Gang's all here. Hey, Joe Frank, good to have you back, man. Haven't seen you in a minute. So, yeah, I missed you guys. You know, you are my family. You know, as lonely as this life can be sometimes, at least we have each other. So what's up, Pat Baldwin? What do you say? Hey, Lynette, what's up? Good to see everybody. You know, let's bring on, let's get right to it on this Wednesday. Is that right? I'd rather watch this than the Champions League football. Well, thanks. I appreciate that. Because you know what? We don't talk a lot of sports on here. We don't talk a lot of politics on here. We don't talk about who's getting vaxxed. We talk about music, the tie that binds us together. Hey, Chris Zinnel, what's up, bro? Congratulations on your book. I see that you have been doing some book events. Scott Earth, Jersey represent. What are you doing out there, man? What's happening? You know what, Scott Earth? What's happening? You don't come to our shows? You don't come to the Barry Electric shows anymore, bro? What you doing? Speaking of which, let's bring on Lori Dawn. What's up?
Hi.
You hear that? Scott Earth can't be bothered anymore.
Yeah, I couldn't be bothered this last Sunday either.
Well, I don't know.
I missed a good one.
I don't know where Steven is.
Oh, I missed such a good. Actually, I was just trying to text him, like, where are you?
I know it's Wednesday and he's working. He's probably like,
Scrambling for Wi-Fi.
Or like he actually has to work.
Yeah.
He's actually working and not coming on this show.
So here I am doing photo of the day.
Well, we could talk about a couple of things, but first and foremost, Sunday was a big banger at the Bowery Electric. It was, quite a show. I think it was the most. It was definitely the biggest show we've ever done there, most crowded, and I have been told that it was the most ethnically diverse hardcore show that a couple people have ever been at, and that's pretty cool.
That is really beautiful.
That's pretty cool. It wasn't Old Timers Day, and it wasn't like it wasn't Little Kids Day. It was a little bit of this. It was a little bit of everything. Yeah.
Look at the age range.
Yeah, it was
age range alone.
Yeah.
And I love that I love this photo because you could see down in the corner there, the garbage can cover has 327 Bowery on it.
Right. Oh wait, hold on. This just in. Hey.
Oh, there we are. Yay.
Sorry, work gets in the way sometimes.
I know, man. Can you believe it?
I'm sorry.
You
what,
know
what I missed.
We just brought this picture up and we were talking about. She was talking about the garbage can, and you mentioned that to me too. The garbage can on the right, but I know it's hard for everybody at home to see. But on the top right, you see Larry Kelly up there, and somewhere up there is you see Rat Bones sort of in the middle there.
Yep.
But I'm right near Larry Kelly. Me and Angelo from Fishbone.
Yep, and I see Ray Hogan too, right there.
Yeah, so that was a pretty incredible day.
I actually, Lori is the one who asked me if the garbage can was on purpose or not.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was purely an accident, of like a perfect accident.
Right.
Yeah.
Right where it is, the placing, everything.
Yeah.
Well, I got to say that Sunday was one of the most, I think it was like one of the most intense days of my life.
It was one of the best shows we've ever had. And
it was intense for a couple of reasons. And, I think what could be said is like, if you're going to play in the big leagues and step to the plate, you're going to get hit by a pitch every now and then. And it was just really an intense show. And, there was a couple of incidents that were pretty stressful, pretty stressful.
Comes with the territory, I think,
Yeah. I went from the next day talking to Larry, I went from being really depressed about it and like sort of like upset about it to being like, that was friggin' awesome.
Everybody survived. Everybody's
Yes,
here.
exactly.
A couple of fights, somebody fell out right in front of the place and had to call an ambulance. Like, but I just went from one like, oh, this guy's ODing. Excuse me a second. I have to go introduce the next band. Right. Then I go back upstairs and, as soon as someone runs out and gets you, there's a brawl. They're fighting, and it's just like, oh man.
Oh my God. I got to say I don't know how long you guys have been talking, but the Butterbrain set was unbelievable.
Well, part of the reason is because they had Angelo from Fishbone, playing with them.
Oh yeah, I mean it was so much fun. I mean honestly, all the bands I thought brought their A game, and that was easily my favorite Butterbrain set I've ever seen.
These guys were great too. Scream
Oh
headline.
my god, yeah,
And Scream was good.
that was the first time I've ever seen them, and I thought they were amazing.
Yeah, they're great.
He's got tremendous stage presence,
Yeah.
He really does.
I was at that show, that Biohazard Fishbone show at City Gardens. I was at that one.
Wow.
I remember seeing Fishbone at a place called Spit on Long Island that Lori knows for sure.
Yes, I do. Spit.
Here's a cool one. This is some of the old guard. The old guard is Ralphie G and Jamie from the Mob, and John Watson and Astoria Lou. That's a good one.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny because John Watson always just like comes out and supports, and he actually texted me the next day and said that was one of the best shows we've ever put on.
Yeah.
It definitely seemed like the most packed, according to Elisa.
Here's some more. Big Roberto.
Nice.
Big Roberto, who you definitely want on your side if there's going to be a scrum.
Yeah.
Like you want Roberto's like the Hulk. Like if you're picking sides, you want the Hulk on your side,
Roberto's
and like
smash.
yeah, and like when shit got crazy and I was in the scrum, Roberto stepped in and just like put an end to it.
Yeah, no, there's not even a question.
Yeah. So that's Roberto, Creature from Rebelmatic, Angelo Moore from Fishbone, Roberto's brother.
Yeah.
How do you Amaru, excuse me. And Kute, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great to see him. Great to see Kute. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw him I went to the Exploited last night. I saw him at the Exploited.
How was that?
Yo, and I gotta give Waddy from the Exploited props real quick. Waddy, I saw the Exploited last night. Waddy comes out after 3 heart attacks, open heart surgery, and a pacemaker. Waddy comes out with at 65 years old with his shirt off and just delivers the goods. Just delivers the goods. He's a treasure. You know who was great? And Soundman Eddie told me like he felt chills when they played was Lake Lanier.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mia's great. She gets better. I think every time I've seen them, she's got a great stage presence.
Mia, that's her name, Mia?
Mia, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They're fun. They're definitely fun. And you know what? It's nice that we have some new blood,
Absolutely. Yeah.
And these guys we finally got these guys in, the Errorists.
Oh, yeah.
Come on. Yep.
I've been hoping for them to come out for so long, and they crushed it too.
They were good. It was a great bill.
It really was. It really was.
Good.
I think honestly, this is one of the best ones. We've really been raising the bar, and it's just funny because
I don't know if I could do that every week. I don't know if I could do that again, bro. It was insane. It was absolute mayhem.
Oh yeah.
Here you go. Me and Mr. Wolf right here.
And it's funny because that picture was taken before it all went down, so it's like neither of you has any idea what's coming.
You know what I like about this picture? The egg sandwich in Larry's hand. The New York style egg sandwich, like from the deli. That kind of makes the picture.
Yeah, I didn't think that guy ever ate, actually.
Yeah, that and I'm firmly convinced looking at this, I need to lose that 10 pounds.
There's all that engagement food.
Yeah.
And here's what saved the day.
All right, so let's take a second on this. Now, I don't want to get deep into the particulars of who passed, who fell out, and da. But this, what Lori's holding up here, really.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is what every household in America needs to have in their medicine cabinet. You're sending your kid off to college, send them off with the box of this. This is Narcan. It's easy to use. Basically, you just take this little thing out of its packet, you shove this part up somebody's nose, you press this button, you know, you make this, you shake them a little bit. If you can't wake them, you go for it.
Shake them if you can't wake them.
If you can't wake them.
Shake
2 to 3 minutes later, if it doesn't work, you administer the second dose, call 911 right away, because this only lasts for about 30 minutes.
Wow.
So Whitney,
Hi,
yes.
Whitney. Whitney knows she works in the medical field.
Absolutely, she's in the medical field.
I will say this. I will say this.
Yes.
After the drama and trauma on the sidewalk the other day, I've learned, but I need to have one of those. We need to have one of those. Like, I need to have one in my glove compartment, and I need to know how to administer it. But you tell me it's very easy to administer.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, I mean, there's.
But if I would have known how easy it was to administer, and that you could administer it, and if that's not the case, it doesn't affect somebody. If like, I wasn't sure, is he having a seizure or is he overdosing? You know?
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't cause any harm if the person is not overdosing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, if somebody is overdosing, this can save their lives. And there's actually there's videos on YouTube, you know, and there's also a nonprofit called End Overdose, where if you watch their 20 minutes instructional, you can get a box of this for the cost of shipping, which is $7.99. Because, you know, you go to get this in like CVS or something, it's expensive, which I think is criminal.
This is interesting. This is interesting. Joe Frank says, just be careful when they snap out of it. Sometimes they can be combative.
Yes.
Will not affect you unless you need it. I got to say that's spot on. Because when this guy snapped out of it, the EMTs were, the ambulance was there, and he didn't want to go, and he started fighting them.
Yes, because what this does, it competes the opioids off of the receptors, and so they actually are going through like a mini withdrawal. So you have to watch that.
All right.
That said, you have to call an ambulance.
That said, you know who else was at our show the other day? Could you believe this? Our patron saint, Jesse Mallon. Jesse Mallon was at our show.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yep.
I love that he's always in that spot too. That's like up on the, he's always right there.
We brought him down to that spot. Jesse made it. It was incredible. I want to shout out this band that absolutely rocked the house, and that's Rebelmatic. They were great.
They're consistently solid. They really those guys are pros, you know.
Yeah, they were great. And I think last shot. This is great shot. These are two guys that have been on this show. We love these guys. That's Enoch, bass player for Scream, and that's Giz Butt from English Dogs, who plays with Scream now. So there you go. Oh, playing through our Fryette.
That's
cabinets.
right.
Yeah.
Giz reminds me of Ronnie Wood there a little bit, you know.
Yeah, he's
You know.
And just the last picture I want to show is the first picture, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. Nothing brings me more joy than doing these shows. They're really, really, really special. You know?
I go into all our famous group shots, and they just like so many great memories when you see these things, you know. But
said, let's get our guest on.
Absolutely.
Enough of talking about fights and people falling out on the sidewalk. You know, let's get on to what the show's all about, music. Right. And I saw The Exploited last night on top of it.
Enough of the drama.
All right, Lori, I'll bring you in a little bit. All right.
Okay.
Steven, I know you're on the clock, and I know you're getting paid to do this show. I'm glad somebody loves this show so much. I'm glad the city of New York loves this show so much that they're willing to pay you to come on.
It was part of my contract.
I'm writing it in.
That's right.
All right, I'll talk to you later. There you have it. We're off to a good start. This is the one, the only, often imitated, never duplicated, the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. We are sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, DTFM Vinyl Distro, Generation Records, 126 Hardcore Clothing, Mad Vintage, and the Texas Silver Rush. They're a jewelry design firm and boutique store located in the birthplace of the Texas country music scene in Fredericksburg, Texas. They specialize in working with musicians in all music genres to design and create unique one-off pieces like the one I am wearing here, my friends, as well as to style them for stage, album covers, promo photos, and social media exposure. Their client list includes Rock Roll Hall of Famers Greg Rolle, Ringo Starr, and of course, Agnostic Front. Information and online sales are being taken at their Facebook and Instagram pages, and of course, www.texassilverrush.com. That said, let's clear the deck and let's bring our guest on. What's up? Oh, lest we forget, you know whose birthday it is today? Thanks for the reminder. It is Happy birthday, Rat Bones. We love you, bro. Happy birthday. So that said, let me clear the deck and away we shall go, yo. All right. Today's guest is an American musician, performer, and former New York City school teacher hailing from Brooklyn, New York. She was part of the community and culture of the early New York City punk scene, which thrived at the iconic venues Max's Kansas City and CBGB. She has performed solo, as well as collaborated with Blondie, The Fast, Cherry Vanilla, and many others. Here today to celebrate the release of her new single, Fantasy, for Anne Rice, coming at us from the great borough of Staten Island, please welcome Donna Destri. Hi.
Hey, Drew.
How are you?
I'm good. That was quite an intro.
Thank you and welcome. How's things in Staten Island?
Things are pretty good in Staten Island. You know, there's a lot of nature here, very different from Manhattan, which I lived in for many years, as you know. So it's a very different lifestyle, but I'm digging it. It's good. It's all good.
Yes, Staten Island's kind of got it all. You know, it kind of has it all. And there's parts of Staten Island that are like absolute wilderness. You would think you're in upstate New York or something. Absolute, you know, absolute wilderness.
And that's kind of a nice change, you know, to be surrounded by so much nature. It's nice.
So let's bounce the ball back and forth a little bit.
Sure.
And we'll go where the horse leads us. How did you come up? Did you grow up in a musical household? How did music come into your life?
Oh, yeah. I mean, my father was a music buff. He always played, you know, classical music and country music and popular music of the day. And he was a big band fanatic. So I grew up loving all genres of music. My uncle, who lived downstairs from us, was one of the drummers of Joey D and the Starlighters. So I always
Joey D and the Starlighters, they did Peppermint Twist, right?
Peppermint Twist. Yes, absolutely.
That was huge song. That was huge.
So there were always musicians and all these crazy people in and out of my house when I was growing up. I was a little kid, like, you know.
And was this in Brooklyn?
This was in Brooklyn.
What part of Brooklyn?
Borough Park.
Borough Park.
And sometimes my uncle would take me into Manhattan. He'd say he'd have to go to, you know, a musicians union meeting, and he'd go do some crazy shit and leave me at the Peppermint Lounge with all these women with beehives, and they all looked like Toots DeVille. It was really, you know, quite an upbringing.
when you mention, I know, you know, you grew up in Brooklyn. When you said he lived downstairs, I'm kind of picturing, was it like a two-family house?
Family house.
Like the ones my grandparents in Brooklyn had. It's like your
Absolutely.
family was upstairs and your uncle and his family was downstairs.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And I have this sort of, I have a great sort of visual for that, everybody. Here you go. There you go.
oh,
There's the great visual.
yeah, Wednesday Addams, and that's my brother Jimmy and my
Okay.
cousin Marie with the beehive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I like that. A beehive.
The beehive. It was huge back then. Yeah.
And that's when they had aerosol hair, like really, really toxic aerosol hairspray.
Well, that's why there's no more, ozone layer. It's gone
Right.
because of all the hairspray back in the 50s and 60s.
It's purely because of the beehive.
Absolutely, the beehive killed the ozone layer. Yeah.
Now we'll get into it as we go, but just for everybody out there a little bit, Donna's brother Jimmy, of course, ended up in Blondie and wrote quite a bit of great stuff when he was in the band.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what was and also about Joey D and the Starlighters who did the Peppermint Twist. Apparently, Jimi Hendrix played with them for a minute, and so did Joe Pesci.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Really?
Joe Pesci, Jimi Hendrix and Joe Pesci played guitar with the group at different times in the 60s.
Oh, look at that. Joe Pesci. Wow, he's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, absolutely. Whitney said I could smell the Aquanet from here. Yeah, it was Aquanet. Yeah. So did you, as a young person, did you start playing music yourself? How did music kind of?
Well, I always think of it as almost from a past life, because my earliest memories were I used to sit downstairs and make believe play piano on the table. My mom used to say, "What are you doing?" "I'm playing piano." And, I was always interested in piano. And then they sent me for piano lessons for a minute. And I had this miserable teacher. She was so freaking mean, and I never practiced. And interestingly, her son, Frankie, was Bette Midler's first accompanist.
Oh, wow.
And he said to me one day, I think I was about 10 years old when I was taking lessons. And he said, "You're not reading the music, are you?" And I said, "No." And he said, "But you can hear it and play it by ear." And I said, "Well, I try, And he said, "That's a talent. Don't listen to my mother. Just do what you have to do. If you play by ear, play by ear." And I stopped taking lessons with her, mainly because of that, because he said that to me and because she was so freaking mean. So I stopped taking the piano lessons, but I've continued, playing piano until today. I love it. It's my passion.
This I like this shot. I love this shot. You know what I really love? I love the staircase of the L.
Right.
Like you guys are like hanging out by the L at the stop.
And the litter on the street, and it looks
Yeah.
like something from Mean Streets or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's your brother sitting there, right?
That's Jimmy, and I forget the name of the other guy. I think it was Sal something or other. Yeah.
That makes sense. Sal something or another. Like, yeah, absolutely. What was the first music that like you felt like spoke to you personally? That like this isn't like my uncle. Like this is mine. Like this is speaking to me.
Well, I have to say, the first time I heard "You Don't Have to Say You Love Me" by Dusty Springfield, I was smitten. I'd never heard a voice like that. I loved her. I still love her. I like the Beatles, but the first time I heard "Satisfaction" by the Stones, that was it. That was it. That to me was just brilliant, brilliant rock and roll. I love the Stones.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I guess, in those, in sort of those, in that era, sort of the Beatles were sort of in a strange way, sort of I don't want to say squeaky clean, but the Stones were really the Stones. Yeah.
The Beatles were safe. I remember my mother seeing the Beatles on Ed Sullivan with us and saying, "Oh, they're cute," but when she saw the Stones, it was like, I don't like the way those boys look,
Yeah. Absolutely. And I guess there is a timeline here, which we're going to make our way through, which is sort of like the Stones sort of directly influenced, the Dolls, which directly influenced, and then Johnny, there's an inherent sort of time.
Well, the first time I saw the Dolls at Mercer Art Center, I thought David and Johnny were like Keith and Mick, very similar vibe, except that they had all the glam thing going on, which I love so much, but yeah, there are parallels between the Dolls and the Stones. Absolutely.
What you mentioned the Dolls at the Mercer Art Center, but do you remember, like, what was the first live music that you went out and saw as a young person?
Funny enough, the first concert I ever went to was the Bee Gees at the 46th Street Theater with Mickey and Paul Zone.
I bet that was awesome.
And they had a live orchestra, and they did all the old songs. It was just gorgeous. The second one was Emerson, Lake and Palmer at Fort Tyrone Park or something in the Bronx, and that was just torturous. Yeah.
But the Bee Gees must have been incredible back then. The three brothers, they were just like
incredible, chills, and that orchestra. It was gorgeous.
You mentioned the Zone brothers, and I know Paul, and of course they later on. We're in the fast, and I have a couple pictures of you with them. How did you meet the Zone brothers?
Well, I went to grade school with Paul, so I know Paul since I'm about 10 years old. We went to grade school together, and actually in 8th grade, he rescued me from Brooklyn. I was dating some kind of like a tough guy in Brooklyn, and Paul said, "You don't want to be here. You want to come with us into Manhattan." And so Paul kind of changed my life, and I was actually in the fast for a minute.
This is you and Paul?
That's me and Paul. Yeah. That was one of my first. I think that was my first show at Max's Kansas City. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, we had Paul, and my brother Jimmy played keyboards. Frank Infanti played guitar with Mickey. It was like a star kind of thing. It was fun.
That's I could see. Looks like that looks like your brother's keyboard back there behind him. That's sort of that.
I think it was his Farfisa, maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. So. This, and we're going to get to Max's, but I think this sort of harkens to that era, right?
Oh yeah, that was when I worked at Natasha's clothing store. That's actually her top I was wearing. Natasha, the first punk designer, had a clothing store on St. Mark's Place, and I worked there for a while with her. We go way back.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was just going to say that's her top, and that was around that time.
You just reminded me. You just reminded me of going through sort of your stuff. I grabbed this thing, and I have to. You mentioned St. Mark's, and it just reminded me that I guess this is from our friend Howie Pyro, who passed, and this is like. His numbers in his phone book, and I couldn't help but notice under your name is 28 St. Mark's Place. Did you live?
I lived
28.
there. Yes, I lived in
Wow.
28.
That must have been an adventure.
Well, it was great because everyone you saw the night before, you'd see the next day walking around in St. Mark's Place. That was the best time in New York. It was like one big party, you know. It was so cool, so much fun. Tish and Snooki were on the corner with Manic
Sure.
Panic and,
Yep.
you know, Trash and Vaudeville at the other end. It was really so much fun.
Yeah, Jimmy Webb and
Yeah.
and also, of course, you know, St. Mark's was. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, in its own way, St. Mark's is still very vibrant. It just doesn't resonate for us.
Different.
For the young people that are out there today, you know, in 30 years they'll be talking about it like the way that we are now. It's still vibrant in a different way, but back then you had different things in play.
Yeah,
you know?
back then, I mean, I'd walk down the block and see Quentin Crisp and sit down and talk with him for a little bit. You know, there was always somebody famous walking down the block. There was Electric Ladyland Studios. I mean, it was just a whole different thing back then. So much fun.
Yeah, St. Mark's reminds me of Coney Island High. Yeah, that was a little bit later, and that was Jesse Mallon's, you know, place that he opened. But yeah, I mean, it's certainly changed now. They just tore down a bunch of the old places and they built another monstrosity right on the corner.
God.
You know. So that said, you know, you mentioned the dolls, and you mentioned Mercer Art Center. Could you just tell the uninitiated? So, like, what was the Mercer Art Center, and how did the dolls, and were the dolls as great as sort of folklore would have it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The energy of that band in the beginning, it was life-changing. They were life-changing. They were amazing, you know. And the Mercer Art Center, you know, I hadn't gone there before the dolls, but it was an art center. I mean, it was a nice venue, unfortunately gone, but seeing them there, I remember, was life-changing for me.
Yeah. And you were friends with Johnny Thunders?
Well, not then, not back then.
Not then.
No, I became friends with him much later on when I started working at Max's Kansas City, and he would come in and Jerry would come in. I actually dated Jerry for a little while. You know, they became friends later on. I mean, I went to all their shows. I went to their show at the Diplomat Hotel on that Halloween.
A very famous show.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we were there. I was definitely like a fan. But later on, we became friends.
You know, while we're sort of here, did you see Kiss back then?
I saw Kiss at the Palladium, and I thought they were the loudest band I'd ever seen. They were just so loud. I mean, they were good.
Yeah.
I have a gripe about Kiss because when the Fast used to play the Diplomat Hotel many moons ago, Mickey's own thing was to put a big black heart around his eye with a white face.
Sure.
And I could show you pictures of those days well before Kiss. And I remember Gene Simmons came to see the Fast at the Diplomat Hotel, and later on they came out with the same makeup and you know, just a little variation of it, but that was a total ripoff. So, you know, I have a thing with Kiss.
I could see that.
Yeah.
You know, talking about the Fast and talking about Max's Kansas City, I want to bring on a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours. He's beloved on the show. I'm talking about Michael Alago.
Hi, Drew. Hi, Donna.
Hi, Michael.
Oh, darling. We haven't had pasta in a long time.
You have to come over.
I'm coming. I mean, so to speak.
I'll pick you up.
What's happening, Alago?
Well, I just wanted to make it here on time. I'm thrilled to see you and Donna together here. And I think you were just now talking about Max's Kansas City.
Kansas City, yeah.
When I started to go there, hon, you know, when I was 16 years old, I met you. I met Marsha, who was the day manager there, remember?
Yes.
I remember Johnny coming during the day. Yeah. Please. Yeah. Totally amazing.
You know, Johnny One thing I have to say about Johnny, he would come in and he would ask me, do you have $10? And I'd give him $10. He would always pay me back. It could have been 2 months later, but he'd come back and say, here's the $10 I owe.
Oh, how great. Yeah,
you know?
That's nice.
Yeah, I always remember that about him.
And I only went to Max's a couple of times. I was pretty young. But there was, hold on, let me get this photo up. Come on. There you go. So Max's was kind of split. There was this bar I remember, and then the music was it upstairs or in the back?
Upstairs in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on this floor.
On this floor, yes.
Right.
I see.
On this floor. Yeah, that's definitely not the downstairs. That's the upstairs bar.
Right.
You could say David Johansen under his picture over there.
I was just about to say that. You could see him over there on the right, David Johansen. You mentioned the Fast and Alago. I know you're friends with Paul. They're an interesting band, a really interesting band that's sort of in those sort of halcyon days where a lot of the Blondie, Dead Boys, the Shirts, the Fast is a band that sort of they played with a lot of these bands, and they sort of they didn't break through. Although they're in a lot of the pictures and in a lot of the stuff, and they played a lot of the shows, and they're great. And what do you kind of attribute that to, Donna?
Mismanagement.
Yeah.
Mismanagement.
Yeah.
I remember, they were getting lots of airplay in LA. They were managed by Tommy Dean from Max's Kansas City for a while, and they had several chances for record contracts, and he passed on them from me. And, they worked with Bobby Orlando. It was only after they became Man to Man, and it was just Paul and Mickey, that they actually had that #1 hit in London. So.
Right. And you actually sang a little bit on this release, right?
No, I didn't sing on there. No. I sang on other releases, on the other songs of theirs. But I definitely contributed to Mismanagement because they could have had record deals. They had great pop songs. They had.
I was going to say they were so, I think, ahead of their time.
Yes,
almost,
absolutely. Always.
The look, everything about them. Yeah.
Here's another one of the. I think this is the same show that we mentioned before, and we were singing, I think, "Summer Lovin'" from Grease, like a rock version of "Summer Lovin'" from Grease. Yeah. The Billy Pilgrim Johnson says, my first time at a New York club was at Max's when the student teachers opened for the Blessed with Howie Pyro. The Blessed was Howie was Howie. Yeah. Did you feel like I've had Danny on the show, Danny Garcia. We saw the film. Did you feel like the film documented sort of the Max's thing properly? I do. I think that he captured a good deal of it. Yeah. I think he captured I think he could have talked to more people who were active there. For instance, Paul wasn't in it, and they were the house band at Max's Kansas City. So right. He could have talked to Paul and some other people also. Dina Regine played at Max's Kansas City. A lot of people weren't represented. So
I practically lived there.
Right. I
was always there for the boyfriends, of course, and Suicide.
Suicide, yes.
Gosh, I loved seeing Suicide at Max's Kansas City.
I mean, Suicide played there a lot.
They played there a lot. They cleared the room a lot. Alan was insane. Totally fabulous.
Brilliant, insane.
brilliant, like, you know, like almost like the bastard child of Elvis Presley. And when they performed, I would run to the front. I was like 15, 16 years old. I would run to the front of the stage, and on the right side of the stage, it was like a little step there, 2 little steps. And I would sit there and I would be in heaven. Once he started banging his head with the mic and he started bleeding, the tables cleared. And I would just sit there in awe. And my first time that I saw them in awe, I went upstairs to the 3rd floor where the dressing rooms were. And I was like professing my love for Alan. And I think I was surprised that this little clean-cut kid who looked like he was 12 years old loved Suicide so much, you know? I loved every single thing about Marty and Alan's sound. Like, it spoke to me. It was incredible. You know,
the bastard schizophrenic child of Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
There you go. I'll take it. Sure.
The first time I saw them was in a dark basement. I forget where it was, somewhere in the Lower East Side. And Alan jumped on me, and he was completely covered in silver and silver all over me.
Fabulous. Yeah,
and literally sitting in my lap, and I had all this silver all over me. I didn't know whether to be like mortified or love it.
What was that one little place on off Bleecker Street and Broadway? I know I saw Cherry Vanilla and her band there. You went all the way down On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
Yeah. I vaguely remember On the Rocks. I just haven't seen Cherry there.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm just looking for one of Alago's. Alago has some great shots. You know, that sort of brings Alago. This is one of your shots, and what I'm getting at is, you know, a lot of bands, you know, it got sort of pulled in on this like punk thing, you know, and it's sort of like, you know, I remember being, you know, Tom Petty's punk, and I'm like, huh? No, just in that, like when it was happening, it was like Elvis Costello or whatever. And to me, the one band to me that really was punk, I mean, was the Dead Boys.
Oh my God, the Dead Boys.
They seemed to me to be like, they were really punks.
Yeah. Yeah,
most definitely. I mean, the energy, they had great songs. Like, Everyone Knows You Were Caught with the Meat in Your Mouth. All This and More. Their album was called Young, Loud, and Snotty. Extraordinary band back then. You know, all the music. They were all, I thought, incredible musicians. And, you know, here we go. I can faithfully say that Stiv was the bastard child of Iggy Pop.
There you go.
They had a very Stooges element to them. And once I saw them, I went crazy. I became the head. Me and my friend Jody became the head of their fan club. 15, 16 years old. What do we know about putting together a fan club? So I put together only this one zine. I cut and paste the letters and I Xeroxed it.
Don't make me find it, because I will
find it. All This and More. It's probably in there somewhere.
I got it. It's in the.
But that was all I did, and then I never missed a show. Ever missed a show. They were one of my favorite bands back then.
The Dead Boys.
The Dead Boys.
Here you go. Boom. There it is. Alago's fanzine for the Dead Boys. I love. Yeah.
Donna. 5412 New Utrecht Avenue. That was the same apartment that I took photos of you. Didn't I take photos of you, black and white pictures with like handcuffs and a champagne glass?
Oh my!
In my bedroom.
Oh my!
Oh,
yes. Yeah.
You know what? While we're sort of here,
sure,
kind of yucking it up. This we use this in the Alago film because Cherry was involved, but you know, Donna was what was the girls' night out, Donna? Could you explain to us?
Oh, well, Cherry had this idea. It was all Cherry's idea, I have to say. She had this idea of like doing reviews of all girls because there were so many girls in the, you know, singers in the city back then. And we had Gabriel Rotello and the Real Tones and the Uptown Horns, amazing band. And we did these reviews at the Ritz all the time. This was the very first one. It was me, Cherry, Brenda Bergman, and Sherry Beachfront. Yeah.
Alago, is this when did you book this, Alago? Were you working at the Ritz?
I was working at the Ritz. I'm sure it was one of the things, I was involved with, Jerry Brandt, my boss back then. Yeah, I must have just begun because it's July 3rd, 1980. Right. And I started working at the Ritz when it opened up in 1980 until 1983 when I left to go to work at Elektra Records.
And they
when was the big
years, these shows? They did. And Gabriel Rotello took them over and he called it Downtown Dukes and Divas. And we added some guys in the lineup.
And didn't he do that review a few times at the Limelight?
Yes.
Yes, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Took it to the Limelight. And there were so many wonderful people back then at, Max's that are just not here anymore. No. Remember Kieran Lisco?
Oh,
I loved him. And I don't know whatever became of John Collins. The John Collins band.
I believe, is still around. Yeah.
Oh, good. And there was someone else. Harry
Toledo?
Yes!
He's married to Janice Cafasso, and they still live on 14th Street. Both of them very well, healthy, and
thank God. Oh yeah, I loved Harry Toledo.
Harry Toledo.
Yeah.
And
did Para Ubu play there at some point?
At the Limelight?
No. I'm sorry, hon. Back to Max's Kansas.
Max's, yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. What was that song?
Another really loud band.
Final Solution. I think the song was called Final Solution. It was on one of those.
You just reminded me as we were kind of talking about the Ritz and you working there. It reminded me, wasn't there a big Tina Turner show at the Ritz back then?
There was not only one Tina Turner show, it was the return of Tina Turner. She had just got signed to Capitol Records. She just had covered Al Green's was it What's Love Got to Do? Let's Stay Together. Let's Stay Together.
Look at those outfits. Look at those outfits her dancers are wearing. Pretty
very
great.
80s. And we did 5 sold out nights with her. Everybody came. Bowie came almost every night. Keith Richards came. It was really like heaven.
I remember we did a show the night before one of hers, and she was in the audience for our show, and we were like, oh my God, Tina Turner's going to be watching us.
That's stressful. That's stressful.
It was stressful.
Yeah.
It was stressful.
Yeah. Okay.
But she was lovely. She was so nice.
Always. Oh yeah.
She was lovely.
Alago, thank you. It was nice to see you.
Oh, nice to see you all too, Donna. Yes, we're going to get
Michael, please.
I love you.
I will come and pick you up.
Okay.
We'll come and pick you up. So
we'll do it soon.
Definitely.
Next month for my 65th birthday.
You got it. Let's talk on the phone.
Alago, tell my mom I'll talk to her soon.
Okay, great.
And we'll talk about Arizona if you want to come with us.
Okay. Thank you.
We love you.
I love you
too. I love you. Oh, I adore him.
I told you he talks to my mom more than me.
That's so sweet. I just adore him.
My mom loves him.
How could you not?
Yeah. Wait, hold on. I gotta. I'm looking for the picture of Alago and my mom. Hold on. Here you go. I got it. Alago and my. Here you go, everybody, across the whole planet Earth. Alago and my mom. There you go.
Oh, your mom is beautiful. She looks so young. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, you're only 25, so there you go.
Right. That's right. So that said, let's let me take a sponsor break, and we'll come back and let's talk about CBGB. Let's talk about Blondie. And let's get on to the music that you just put out and stuff. So I'll see you in a couple minutes.
Got it.
This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. How about some word from our sponsors?
Since 1992, Generation Records has been a mainstay of the New York metropolitan area music scene. Today, they offer a diverse selection of new and used rock, jazz, indie, hip-hop, punk, hardcore, metal, blues, soundtrack, and reggae LPs, as well as t-shirts, posters, and other merchandise. They buy used record collections and music memorabilia and will pay you top dollar for them. House calls made for large collections in the tri-state area. Call or email generationrecords@gmail.com and follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
Will that be cash or in debt?
Do you mean debit?
Yes. Sorry. Another eternally satisfied customer.
Peace, what it do? Welcome to NYHC Comics at 117 Main Street, Dobbs, Surrey, New York. I'm Debo the Pro with my homie
Lee Farley.
Welcome to the spot. Specializing in yesterday's and today's comic books, rare CGCs, toys, collectibles.
Got skateboards, old school tapes, Magic the Gathering, Warhammer.
Video games, original art pieces by your favorite New York City and worldwide artists. Let's go. Skate decks all day, baby.
We also have the young reader section here for like 10 and under. Pops. People love the Pops.
Star Wars! We are New York hardcore. We always rep the scene. Let's get it on.
And we're back. Just a reminder, please support the show. I actually shot a bit of a promo commercial down at the Bowery Electric the other day that we're going to start running. But this will probably be the last time I'm doing this manually. Please support the show. There's a Patreon page. If you want to make a PayPal donation, there's a super chat function for a couple bucks if you want to contribute. But the show needs support. Also, we're looking for a sponsor now that Organic Grill sort of closed up, hopefully temporarily. But show's looking for a sponsor. So if you'd like to come on board and be a part of the festivities, please reach out. Let's talk about a couple of upcoming shows this Sunday. Andrew Vacante of Combust will be on the show. Week after that, finally, we got Joey Chithead from DOA and politician Joey Chithead coming on Sunday, September 29th. October 6th, everybody's favorite returning to the show, Danny Lilker, talking about the re-release of his book. Lou Morales will be on Wednesday, October 9th to talk about his book, Brooklyn Skinhead, which is on my to-read list. Sunday, October 20th, my friend and yours, this is going to be another big banger. Roger Moret from Agnostic Front will be on the show talking about his new book, With Time, The Roger Moret Archives. Sunday, October 27th, the return of Glenn E. Friedman, talking about his new book, Fearless Vampire Killers, Bad Brains Photographs. Sunday, November 3rd, Alex Kynan from Cause for Alarm and Agnostic Front. Steve Polcari from Artificial Peace, Marginal Man, Assault and Battery. Sunday, November 17th. We just announced this the other day when I stepped on stage at Live Aid, my Adidas. Daryl DMC McDaniels from Run DMC, a guy that I've done some work with back in the day. Of course, I have the gold record to prove it. I produced the Run DMC Ooh What You Gonna Do video back in the day-o. Worked on a couple of other things with him. So this should be really, really interesting. Where is it? Why is that not happening? Hold on. We got stuck. I wonder why. That's odd. What did I hit? Oh, I hit something fizzucked up. There you go. So yeah, DMC on the show. That should be really, really great. Sucker MCs. I'm a $5 man, and you sucker MCs. There you go. Yeah, crazy lineup of shows, and that also that show 349 and show 350 is Thurston Moore from Sonic Youth. So come on now, get your shoes and socks on, kids. It's right around the corner. Please follow the show on Instagram. I've said it before. I said it again. It's right below there. Stone Films NYC. Happy birthday, Rat Bones. Want to shout out a couple of new patrons. Danny Nisk, Eben Denton Walker, excuse me. And I want to shout out Eddie Ahmed, who made a nice contribution. We're swinging the axe here. We need your support. Please come in from the cold and support the show. Hey, Rick Healy, I'm doing it up, brother. You can count on that on this Wednesday afternoon. So that said, let's clear the deck. What the heck? Let's bring our guest back on. Hold on. Sorry. I'm moving as fast as I can. Is that right? Was it Dr. No's birthday? I did not know that. Let us bring our guest, Donna Destri, back on the show. Hi.
Hey.
Chaos. Yeah. So that said, let's talk a little bit about this place here and what could you impart a fond memory or two from CB's?
Well, CB's, I used to love to play there because they had great sound. The sound in CB's was superb, but it was so dirty. It was a shithole. I mean, the bathrooms were like so gross, but we had fun there. There were a lot of good things going on there. I mean, I had a flirtation with somebody there that turned out to, be a lot of fun. So that it was good. It was good. CBGB's was good.
Is it true? Is it true that like if you played CB's, you couldn't play Max's?
Yeah, you had to wait a month.
You had to wait a month.
You had to wait a month. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, you couldn't play Max's and CBGB's within the same month.
And
I could see that.
Yeah. But the way that things are in the music world, waiting a month when things are hot and when you're a hot band, to have to like not play for a month, when things were probably, and just my perception is there's sort of like CB's bands and like Max's bands. Like to me, the Dead Boys were like a CB's
band. Yeah. And Blondie essentially was a CB's band. They played there more than Max's, I think.
Yeah. And he's kind of case in point. And I know this person is a friend of yours, and you did some singing on one of their early records, right?
Oh yeah.
I love this shot. I always love this shot of Debbie Harry. I just love the Empire State Building in the background. I love this shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also sang on their Return album, their 1999 No Exit. I did a lot of work on that album, which I was gonna make my way to that. You sing, I think, fairly predominantly on Maria, correct? Maria, yeah.
That's a great track, and that track really did well around the world. That was a big song. Yeah.
And it was since I never had a number one hit of my own, to hear that on the radio was just
nice.
It was so nice. It was
that's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And you living in the real world, right? You sang a little on this?
Yeah, that was my first backup thing with Blondie, but that's basically just screaming, and I wouldn't really call that singing.
Did you get to know Debbie and Blonde and Chris once your brother joined the band, or were you all friends before any of this stuff
Oh,
happened?
we were friends with them before Jimmy joined the band. In fact, it was Paul who suggested
Wow.
Jimmy, because they were looking for a keyboard player, and it was Paul who suggested Jimmy. But I remember seeing them well before Jimmy was in the band. And I remember the first time seeing them, and they were playing in a little basement. I forget the name of this club, but they were on the floor. There was not even a stage. And I said, this girl is going to be very famous someday. I just felt a gut feeling about her, because of course she was gorgeous and, she sang great, say what you want about Debbie. She's a great singer.
Yeah, she is.
She is.
I guess it's kind of safe to say that, like, seeing her then, like, she had the it factor.
She did. Absolutely. She did. I remember I went to see them once with my friend Anthony, who's very critical of everybody. And he said,
Right.
Oh my God, she looks like Elkie Summers. She's fantastic, So yeah, she had it.
Is that right, Lori Dawn? Is that right, Lori Dawn?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Lori said Blondie was the first band that I felt was my music.
Yeah. Those songs were amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I remember listening to, and even now, she's still got it. Oh man.
I think her voice has gotten better over the years.
Yeah.
It's so much richer now.
Yeah. Yeah. Something about it. And actually it was the first concert that I took my daughter to. So
really? Oh
yeah.
wow.
It's like a generational thing, yeah.
Wasn't Debbie in, is it the Stilettos before Blondie?
Yes.
Yes.
With Elda Gentile, Diane Gentile's sister, rest her soul. I loved
her soul, yeah.
Yeah.
I see Diane. We see Diane because she works.
Yeah, Bowery. Yeah.
We see her around. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Lori, I'll bring you back in a bit. All right.
Okay.
Don't go anywhere. Any we talked about Max's, we talked about CB's and a couple of these bands. Were there any unsung heroes like from that era? Was there anybody that you thought like I love this artist or these people, and they just sort of, for whatever the reason, didn't, any unsung heroes from that era?
Yes, absolutely. Mink DeVille. I remember seeing Mink DeVille at a club called Mother's. Before Max's, there was a little interlude where Peter Crowley was booking bands at Mother's, and Mother's was a great little place,
I think Blondie played there, right? Was it in the 20s?
In 23rd Street, yeah.
Yeah.
Blondie played there, The Fast played there, and Mink DeVille played there. And I remember being there one night and Jerry Nolan saying to me, "You watch this guy. You got to see this guy. He's the coolest guy." But not only was Willie the coolest looking dude in the scene at that time, that band were freaking amazing. Their songs were freaking amazing. They had to go to Europe to get famous. I never understood why they didn't catch on, because they were amazing. Really, really great band.
I didn't see that coming. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I
was a huge Mink DeVille fan.
Right. Yeah. James G. Warrior says, I love the Johnny Thunders documentary where they interview Mink DeVille. You were somewhat the last person to see him because I guess he was like the last person to see him because he was living in New Orleans and saw Johnny that day.
Yeah. Yeah. Another one who I think he overcame his drug addiction in the end. Willie DeVille did, but he was also, a heroin addict. So many of them back then were.
It must have been pretty tragic and painful to see so many of your friends, whether it's Johnny Thunders or Jerry Nolan or sort of or this one or that one. We could go on and on and on, right? It was just that prevalent, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Heroin was everywhere. Dee Dee Ramone did heroin. I mean, there was so much of it, and so many people died from it. And AIDS,
Right.
We lost a lot of people in the 80s because of AIDS, a lot of dear friends of mine. So between heroin and AIDS, a lot of our contemporaries are gone, and it's very sad. It really is.
Yeah, there's a group like the Ramones, somebody said to me, we were talking about music, and he said, none of these Southern rock guys, like that's a genre, like none of them sort of live to old age. And I said, then again, a lot of the early punk, people
live to old
passed
age.
very young too.
Right.
None of the Ramones are around. Joe Strummer, like a lot of them, didn't make it into old age,
They didn't make it. No.
So, yeah. So as far as Alago, is that right? Alago just said, "God bless Robert Gordon."
Yeah, Robert Gordon. Yeah. I don't think his thing was heroin though.
Yeah. But he passed through. I saw him play a lot, man.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I liked. He was great.
Yeah, I liked when he played with Chris Spedding. Who
I saw that. Yeah, I saw. What did I see? Him, Chris Spedding, and Slim Jim Phantom. I thought that's cool. What this shot here? Oops, what did I just do? Hold on. All right. Is what's happening? Back to the music. What's happening here?
Oh, I don't know. I think that's Steve from the Senders playing bass over there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's happening with me. What that?
Yeah, I was just wondering what kind of band. What is this one? Yeah.
I don't know. That was maybe a Donna Destri and Friends gig. After the Voodoo Shoes, I did like a couple of Donna Destri and Friends, and I remember Philippe playing drums and Steve playing bass. So that was probably one of those gigs. The Senders guys,
makes sense.
Yeah.
I know in '83 you did a cover of Rebel Rebel, right? There's a video. I from what I understand, you're not in love with it all these years later, but the video. You think the
video, strangely enough, we entered it into the Houston Film Festival and I won the first prize. I still can't listen to it without the sound off. Yeah. I kind of screamed that in defiance. That was when I was signed to Main Man and they wanted me to do a Bowie cover. And I wanted something from his catalog from the Durham years, which Tony DeFries did not have the publishing for those songs. So I said I'd do Rebel Rebel, but I hated the production of it. I absolutely hated it.
What was, can you explain? Main Man was a management company?
Main Man was the management company that managed Bowie and John Cougar Mellencamp and Dana Gillespie for a while and Jane County for a while. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Coming out of the woodwork. West Beach. Saw you many times over the years, Donna, and you always rocked.
Oh, thank you.
What's up, Wes? Hey, Wes, you got to come on the show one of these days. Yeah. I saw Wes with the Plasmatics.
So those Main Man years were, they're very interesting. People talk shit about Tony DeFries, but I have to say he was always very, very, very good to me. So I have nothing bad to say about Main Man.
Yeah. And kind of going through that musically, could you just sort of walk us through what came after that and just give us the musical timeline a little bit?
Well, Main Man was, like 83, 84. After that, I was just doing gigs and different kinds of things. I was even like singing torch songs in little bars after that for a while. Mm-hmm. And then in 89, I had my son and I dropped out completely to raise my kid. I did nothing but become a mom and then work as a school teacher.
Well, that's
because I wanted a gig where I'd be home when my son was home, you know, because I remember being a kid and coming home and mom was always there. And, that, you know, you can't replace that. So I became a New York City school teacher.
And that's my cue to bring Lori back on, right? So what was the great question, Lori?
So I wanted to know if your kids knew how cool you were.
You know, I always kept my musical past separate from my school teacher gig. I never told anybody because I never wanted them to discover certain things. You know, I mean, there's pictures out there where I look half naked. I'm not, you know, but you don't want kids to get their hands on that kind of stuff. So I always kept it separate. You know, even when I taught the chorus and, you know, I always kept my musical thing separate.
Go ahead,
sorry.
Lori. I'm sorry. No, you go.
Okay, but do you think that it helped you relate to the kids? I mean, just having that, you know, part of you, that connection so strongly to music and to, you know.
It helped me relate to the music kids, not so much with my English classes.
Okay.
You know, but the music kids, yeah.
Right.
You know, because to me, it was always very exciting to find this kid who could sing like an angel. I was, you know, that to me was a high in itself, you know, like, look at this kid. She's amazing. I want you to pursue music, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
that's so great. You know, you would encourage.
I would encourage kids that I thought had something, you know, and there were quite a few. There were quite a few. In English, not so much. I kind of kept my.
What did you teach in your illustrious career?
Well, I taught English and I taught music and I taught. In the end, because kids were so unmotivated, we came up with these other classes like true crime. So I taught that for a while, and that got really dark after a while. So
yeah.
Did you see teaching in the New York City public school system? I assume you saw a real shift. You just saw things really change.
Yes.
I mean, that must,
Like in the beginning, when I started, we could pretty much pick and choose what we wanted to teach. That changed, and there was no more, you know, teachers had no choice really. So that was depressing. And kids became less and less motivated. As far as when, you know, technology came around, you know, like when I first started, not every kid had a phone, you know.
Right.
When I first started, they were still having beepers and stuff like that, you know. Then they all got phones, and this became the norm in the classroom. So how are you going to get through to kids who are totally not invested in what you're doing, you know?
Do they allow phones? Like kids can like be on their phones in class?
They didn't at first. And then they, you know, after 9/11, things changed. They allowed the kids to bring phones to school. And they started using them in the classrooms. And the funny thing was, like, you tell a kid or ask a kid, can you please put the phone away during class? And they'd comply for a minute and then pull it right back out again, you know? So how are you getting through to kids that are on social media, you know?
It is, and I could testify to it. It's an insidious addiction.
It sure is.
It really is. And I know social media has become just sort of part of my life and my career and what I do. And you know, I wake up in the middle of the night to go and look at the phone.
Yeah.
You know, it's not healthy. And
I turn it off after a certain time. Like after I talk to my son and I know that, you know, he's home and I turn it off.
Is that right? Is that right, Arthur? Is that right, Arthur Siegel? Bergen County may be the first district in America to ban phones January 2025.
I don't know how they're talking about doing it in New York. I don't know how they're going to enforce it, though. I mean, are they going to collect phones from kids? I came from a school with 1,500 kids. Are you going to collect 1,500 phones every day? I mean,
it's really difficult.
Well, I think an inherent problem. You know, like Pat Baldwin says, get off your phone and open your eyes.
Right, right.
There's so much less social live
They don't
social.
know how to interact socially. They don't know. They don't understand how to, and everything's digital. They can't tell time if it's not digital on a digital format. They can't. If you say to a kid, Miss, what time is it? And you say 2:45, they look at you like you have 6 heads. Unless you say 2:45, they don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah, my daughter doesn't know how to write in script.
Oh, none of them do. None of them
do.
Yeah.
And if you write on someone's paper and script, they say, Miss, what is this? I can't read this curly stuff.
It's the secret language.
Yeah, yeah. And I try and tell them, learn script, because when you have to write a test, you'll write so much faster.
Yes.
If the pen doesn't come off the paper, you write so much faster. But no, it's painstaking print. They painstakingly write in print.
Right.
It's nutty. It's just nutty. It got to a point where, you know, I loved my job in the beginning and there was so much joy. And then towards the end, there was no joy. So you say to yourself one day, what am I doing? I'm working at this job. There's no joy. You know, am I going to work another couple of years for a few extra bucks a month? It's not worth it. It's not worth it. So
a lot of interesting comments, man, in the chat room.
Really,
yeah, really interesting
about school.
about all this stuff. James Warrior says, honestly, having 2 kids in high school, it's up to the parents to how effective a cell phone ban would be. But you know, when kids get out on their own,
let me tell you something. I've had little girls arrive to school half naked. I mean, with girls that are up to here and spilling out of their clothes. You call home and the parent says, well, she left with a hoodie on. I don't know what you're talking about. Oof. The parents don't know what's going on.
Right.
No, the parents don't know. And that's a distraction to the men teachers, to every teacher, to other boys in the classroom, you know, like, you know, things like that. The parents don't know what the kids are doing.
Joe Frank says script might as well be hieroglyphics. Yeah. It
might as well be. Know? Absolutely.
And Arthur Siegel says kids can't figure out the change to give you, even if it costs $10 and you give them a $20.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I've seen that's sad. I've seen that where I've, you know, once in a while I pay in cash, and we've had a couple incidents where the person was just dumbfounded on what kind of change to give back.
Yeah. What's really scary is if you're going to be in a nursing home and they don't understand the difference of cc's or where to put the decimal points. Oh, I thought it was 100 cc's, not 10. You know?
Tell me about it. My dad's in an assisted living facility. You know,
it's scary.
Yeah.
So now that so you had said something before about how you had stepped away to raise your kid, and you took a career that, you know, helped you to, you know, have the days off and stuff like that. You know, that happens to a lot of us. You know, we're out there, we're going to concerts and clubs and this, we're in the music scene and whatever. And then, you know, women, we have our kids and, you know, we're too tired to do stuff, you know. Right. Then the kids grow up and we want to get back to it, you know. And I think sort of like a roadblock for some women is that now they think that they're too old.
Okay, well, here's the thing.
What would you say to that? Yeah.
Here's the thing, you know, like with music, I'm always writing music. I always want to get it out there. But I have to be realistic. I mean, I'm not going to get a record deal. You know, record companies are looking for kids that are 20 years old, not me. I'm not, you know, you have to be realistic about these things. So you sort of have to reinvent yourself and say, well, I'm going to become a songwriter and hopefully someone will pick up on my work, you know, and not me. I have no illusions of getting, you know, out there and, you know, trying to get a record deal. That would be ridiculous at this point. But, you know, I want to get my music out there. So you sort of reinvent yourself and try and approach it in a different way.
And I think that's amazing. And it's extremely inspirational, really. You know, and I'm always telling the women in our group, Women of the Pit, pick up those instruments or pick up a paintbrush or pick up any creative pursuit that you put aside because,
Oh, you never stop with your art, ever, ever.
whatever it is.
Even if it's just for your own pleasure, I really don't believe it, because you might as well be dead if you're not doing it. I mean, I play my piano at least an hour a day. This is, this is my passion. This is what I do. And I do that for me, so.
Yeah.
Speaking of kind of different, mixing it up a little bit and reinventing yourself, how was it doing this with this Paul and Donna sing Sonny and Cher? I know this is your best friend. Tell us a little bit about this project.
We always wanted to do this. We always wanted to do Sonny and Cher thing, So when Paul came to me and said, "Let's finally do it," I jumped on it. Of course, it was so much fun.
Yeah,
it was so much.
Did you guys ever do any of this stuff? Did you ever perform any of these live or anything?
No, we didn't. We probably should. It would be fun.
Yeah,
just me and my little Paulie, so cute.
You guys have been friends a long time.
Yeah, I just saw him on Saturday because it was his. This past Saturday,
was he in New York?
He was in New York. It was his mother's 94th birthday.
Is that right?
So they had a little party for her at the assisted living home, and I went with him. Yeah.
Wow, 94.
94, yeah.
And this is Paul's brother, correct?
No, yeah, that's Mickey. Yeah.
And Mickey was the first to pass?
Mickey was the first to pass, yeah. Right. And sadly, he passed right before the male stripper went to #1 in England. Yeah, right before. So he never got to see that.
That's sad.
I know.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got. Okay, so that brings us. Let that bring us to the track that we played in the beginning of the show, which I put a couple images to, but before that was "Tomorrow Comes Too Soon." Tell us about sort of now that you're out of the New York City public school system. Tell us about like your latest musical venture and possibly what the future might hold.
Okay, so I've been collaborating with Freddie Katz, who's an amazing guitarist and producer, and he does all the guitar work on some tracks 2 tracks we wrote together, and the rest I wrote for a CD that we put together. And we have the amazing Steve Holley from Wings playing drums, and Danny Ray playing sax on one track.
Sure.
So, and Freddie plays all the guitars and bass and everything else, as well as producing, engineering, and stuff like that. So I thought we had a pretty cool collaboration with this project. And that's the Anne Rice thing. As a kid, I devoured Anne Rice books. I mean, I was online on 57th Street for the release of her latest vampire book. And, I figured a tribute to her would be apropos because I always loved her.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Any plans to play? Any plans to do anything live?
Well, we're gonna put this out for Halloween because it's a vampire track, obviously. So we'll see what happens then. Maybe we'll do a couple of gigs for fun. No, sure. I'm not opposed to that. Absolutely not.
Yeah, the clubs. Billy Pilgrim. Yeah, check it out. It's really great. And if you want to sort of track it down here, connect with Donna on Instagram at Donna Destri. Pretty easy, and then you'll get steered in the right direction.
Yes, we'll be looking out for that too. We'll promote that on our page. So.
Oh, awesome! Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Hey, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm pleased with how it turned out. I am.
Yeah.
It's good. I like it. Let me take a quick sponsor break, and we'll come back. We'll take some questions from around the world, and we'll continue from there. I'll see you in this one's quick. I'll see you in a couple minutes, Donna.
You got it.
Don't go anywhere. You'll be back.
Okay.
Hey, and you too, Skipper. You're going to be back too. This is it. It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. It's what you paid the big bucks for. How's everybody doing? Please go deep, get weird. Let's ask our guests some questions. Get creative, get funky. I want to mention some events coming up. Here we go. These are some events. Hey, up at Queen's Pins in Middletown, New York, we're doing a winter clothing drive, RBNX, incendiary device. It's going to, yes, a rare incendiary device show outside of New York City's 5 boroughs. Crazy Eddie, Redwoods, Leave It Behind, and Prize Fighter. The very next day, we will be back in New York City, ID, Winterwolf, Midnight Foolishness, The Phoenix Within, and Gunk. This is not going to be at the Bowery Electric. They're doing some renovation. We are going to be doing the next 2 shows at Berlin, 25 Avenue A. We've done shows there in the past. It is free. It is all ages. The next one is down at Berlin. I'm doing a Danny Lilker book event at Generation Records on Friday, October 25th. Come one, come all. And then the second show at Berlin, Sunday, November 10th, is the Kings Never Die record release show, 45 adapters, Tree, Redwoods, and Neck Scars. ID playing up in Connecticut, in Wallingford, Connecticut, with Brass Knuckle Brigade, with members of Billy Club Sandwich, Dead Blow Hammer, Rob Kabula, formerly of Agnostic Front, Glorious Wounds. That is Saturday, November 16th. If you are up in the New England area, another rare ID show outside of the 5 boroughs. Lori Dawn, that's right. Hey, Lori Dawn, tell us about this.
Okay, well, I'm going to be doing a art show at the Calling Bell out in Huntington, Long Island. So this is from November 17th to January 6th. I'll have a bunch of my ceramics there. It's a beautiful tattoo shop as well, and Huntington's a cool place to visit. So we're going to have an opening reception on Sunday, November 17th, and I hope a bunch of you will come out. So, yeah, that's it. Did I lose you? Are you gone?
No.
Okay.
No, you didn't lose me. All right. Moving on, the Lou Kohler benefit with a couple big bangers. A Vision of Disorder is reuniting to play. LOA, Municipal Waste, Killing Time, and Crown of Thorns.
That's sold out.
It's sold out already?
Yep.
Wow. Right on.
Yep.
I'm going to be up in your neck of the woods moderating the Vinny Stigma book event. And I hear there's a couple big things at the works for that show that they're going to be announcing pretty soon. And then tell us about this.
Okay, so this is our holiday slamboree. So we are going to be doing another show and also a winter coat drive like last year. We've got Serial Poet starting the party out. Shoot the Five, Fire is Murder, My War, which is going to be a bunch of guest singers singing from the Hardcore Songbook there, and the non-resident. So it's going to be a really fun time. The holiday show is always really special because it's like the last one of the year, and then we have our coat drive. So it's just a real feel-good day on the Bowery. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, for those
and of course we're gonna have DJ Cindy Half Rats there as well.
Yep.
So
for those that are wondering, we are doing this My War thing. Basically, the core band is me and drummer Mike Flattery from ID and Car Bomb Parade on drums. Aaron Collins from Butterbrain and White Trash on bass, and Will Romeo from Neck Scars and Crippled Urn on guitar. And we are doing, it's kind of like a punk rock karaoke thing. We're going to be playing, we're going to be playing a lot of songs and having different people come up and sing songs with us. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
And it's songs that we'll all know, so we can all scream along.
everybody's going to know these songs. It's the usual
Awesome.
suspects. So it's going to be a big sing along, and it should be a lot of fun. And then, so we're good on that. All right. Well, there you have it. I think I mentioned pretty much. Hey, Sally Mae, what's up? Hey, Sally Mae, Butterbrain was amazing on Sunday. Yep.
I missed a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, and listen, Solomon, yes, Sick of It All is not playing the last No Effects show in LA. Yeah, well, that's kind of obvious, you know? That's kind of obvious. That said, please, questions for our guest post. Now would be the time. Let's get it on. That said, let's bring Donna back on. Hi. You know what I wanted to ask you? It didn't. Is it on here? Is she on here? No. Well, actually, you're on here. Hold on. Let me just as I go through all the material. This is Max's. You're up there on the right. Donna, Destri, the Minx, the Jets. But you know whose name hasn't come up, which is a character is Jane County. Jane County was a big part of sort of the environment back then, right?
Oh, she's a big part of my life. I went to Berlin with her and was in a play with her. We was there for several months. Yeah, I adore Jane. I met Jane when I was a teenager, you know.
Who just sent me these? Oh, somebody just sent me some interesting pictures. Hold on. And you're in them. And it just so happens, I think there is this. Ooh, oh, man. Oh, it's Jane. It's Jane here. No, I don't. Where? Okay, here. I just. Who sent me these? Arthur Siegel. Oh, pictures of Donna and Jane. Is that right? Is that what this is? All right. I guess get ready. Oh, boy. Come on. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, wow.
And Joy Rider, rest her soul, that gorgeous Joy.
Wonder where's this happening?
This was, I think, at Barry Electric, actually.
Is that? I guess so. That could be about. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah.
We did a lot of backup singing for Auntie Jane. Yeah.
I just I'm putting a book out with a bunch of photos that were gifted to me from 1977 London, 77, 78, and there's a bunch of Jane County pictures and the band that she was in, and I ended up meeting through Elliot Michael is his name.
Elliot, yeah.
Yeah. Couple here. I got to show you one of these. These are pretty these are pretty wild. Let me show you. Hold on, Greg Smith. Here we go. Greg Smith book. Yeah, these are. Where is it? Hold on. I'm sorry. Here we go. Got it. All right. Enough of that. Here we go. Share screen. Listen, I can move pretty
You're usually
fast.
quicker than this.
I know. I you know what happens sometimes? I like it happens so fast. I end up with like brain fog or something. So this is a book I'm doing with all these great photos that
I love Susie
that have never been seen, right? And the book is going to the printer very soon. And at a certain point, a family friend gave me these 3,500. Look at this.
Wow.
A family friend gave me 3,500 never before seen. He was going to throw them out.
Oh, wow.
He was going to throw these negatives out. And he gave me 3,500. So
that's crazy.
So there's some Jane County live stuff. And then get a load of these Adam and the Ant shots.
Oh my God.
And then there's this great photo session that he did with the electric chairs and with I guess the guys that went over there with her to London,
Wow.
and with her.
Oh my goodness.
Pretty
Incredible.
wild.
Wow. That was before all the work.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
for those that are asking, Billy, this book is going to the printer. Archivist Dreams. It's been pretty incredible. It would have been a travesty if it would have been thrown out, but yeah. A question from Billy Pilgrim. Actually, that's too much to deal with. Hold on. I saw another one I like better. From Sander. You were not only a singer, but also known for your distinctive style. How did your personal style evolve over the years in the punk scene, and how did that influence your work?
What do you mean, fashion style?
I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, well, back in the day, you had to make do with whatever you had on hand because there was really no money to go shopping and buy fabulous things. I remember one of my friends wrapped me in a bolt of fabric once, and we just pinned it here and there, and I went out like that, and it looked amazing. So we were just very innovative as far as what we were going to wear because there wasn't much to go with.
Yeah, that's what he meant. Fashion.
Yeah,
stuff. So did I mean, did you take like the punk thing? Did that make sense to you at the time, or did it just seem really sort of nihilistic and self-destructive? And
well, we never. I remember me and Philistine and even BB, gorgeous BB. We never did the ripped clothing, razor, safety pin kind of thing. We were always more like mohair sweater and leather pants kind of fashion, in the punk days. We didn't really buy into that really, really hardcore punk style. With the mohawks and stuff like that. Although I loved it on certain people like Annabella Lewin, she looked great. I always thought with her, mohawk and stuff. But the girls around the scene at that time really didn't buy into that.
Right.
Most of us.
That kind of makes sense. Okay, Billy Pilgrim Johnson. My question is about Jimmy. I read in the Laura Davis from Student Teachers book that Jimmy is now a credentialed substance abuse therapist. I think that's really great. How is he doing with that? I wish my niece could have gotten some treatment like that before she passed. That's such important work.
Well, Jimmy, I'm not going to lie. For a while, his drug use was legendary. So I'm glad that he cleaned up. I owe that mostly to his new wife, who kind of rescued him from that. And he did. He became an accredited substance abuse counselor. And now he's totally clean, and he spends his days on his boat. And, he's living a very happy life. Thank goodness,
That's awesome.
Yeah, I thank the universe about that, because for a while, it was touch and go with Jimmy. Yeah.
Yeah. That sort of, in doing my homework, I visited this a little bit.
Yeah.
And this is some great players on this record.
There's some great songs on this record.
I mean, where's
the great Mike came and produced
Earl's back on the Bowie tip, right? Earl Slick, Carlos Alomar, Clem Burke played on it. And interestingly enough, Michael Kamen produced this record.
Michael Kamen produced. Oh, I love Michael Kamen.
Perfect. Yeah, he says, and his solo album was fantastic. Yeah.
What a wonderful guy. And me and Debbie sang backup on this.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this sort of needs to be like, this needs like a good re-release.
It really does.
It really does. It needs to like be cleaned up and have a cool.
It really does. It was a great album.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we dealt with this, Paulie. Hey, Donna, did any of your students ever find out about? We addressed that. We addressed that pretty early on.
She hit it well.
I hit it well.
Yeah, it wasn't something that. Is that right? You remember that? Yeah, check it out. It's a damn good sounding record. It's very well produced.
Yeah.
It's really great. What else we got?
I liked how back in the day, you had the girls' night out where, the women got together and made their own opportunities.
That was a great thing that Cherry put together. It really was. It really was a great thing. Yeah.
It's amazing to me that so many years later, we still have to get together and make our own opportunities.
Well, we do.
It's just.
We do.
But yeah, it's getting better.
I think it's getting better.
She was one of the highlights of working on the Ilago film. Hey, Ilago, right?
Hey.
I must
Cherry
say,
Vanilla?
I must say,
fabulous.
going to Hollywood and interviewing her was really, personally, one of the highlights of directing the Ilago film. She was so spot on, and she, so, so and really, of course, because she's worked in that part of the business. So there's a few people that I've interviewed that are at that level. James Hetfield from Metallica. Cyndi Lauper. It's like they just say, okay, what are we doing here? Michael Ilago, got it, and they just do a 20-minute monologue and just hit every note and you don't even need to ask any questions.
John Lydon, the same thing. One of a kind.
I love that.
But Cherry, if you ever get a chance to read her book, Lick Me, it takes place before the Bowie years. But she, in a totally male-dominated career in advertising, she really did well. I mean, it's an interesting read and very well written, if I say so myself.
Arthur Siegel says, loves Cherry Vanilla and her Staten Island band, Jimmy LaLumia, and the Psychotic Frogs. I don't know from that,
Donna, didn't Jimmy just move out of New York?
Did he? I don't know.
I think he moved to Texas or something.
Oh, how weird.
Texas, huh?
But yeah, Drew, Cherry Vanilla was so great in our film. I met her as well when I was 16 years old. And there's that wonderful picture that we have in the documentary of me and Cherry together. She's so smart, so exuberant, her great, incredible energy, very charming, very charismatic. I just spoke to her about a month ago, and she's up there. She's like 80.
She's 80. She's 80.
There you go.
She looks fabulous for 80, I have to say.
Fabulous is exactly right. Yes, totally. Yeah. Oh, yes, that's a fun picture.
Yeah.
Underage.
Where do you think this is, Ilago? What Max is?
Oh, no. It's at Max's, Kansas City.
That looks like the ceiling at Max.
The ceiling. It is. Totally. Yeah. I remember. I had my Farrah Fawcett hair. I didn't have my teeth fixed yet. I was like a kid who, mother had no money to get your teeth fixed or anything. But anyway, I was out every night, as you know.
Anybody out there want to look at check into somebody who had a really wild and adventurous life? Check out the life of Cherry Vanilla.
Yeah.
She was a trailblazer.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wes asks, Donna, who did you want to collaborate with and never got a chance to? And conversely, what was your favorite collaboration?
Well, I'd be stupid if I didn't say my best collaboration was with Debbie Harry and Blondie. I mean, that was wonderful. I would have loved to sing backup with again, Mink DeVille. I think I could have done some really soulful backups with Willie. And I did a collaboration with Fred Snyder from the B-52s. That was fun. But I'd have to say my favorite collaboration was with Debbie. And our voices blend really well together. If you listen to that No Exit album, I think our voices really blend well.
I can see that, because just when I was listening to your new stuff, I thought, oh, she has a beautiful voice, and I can see that absolutely. And your cheekbones as well. You have great cheekbones. And so does Debbie.
Not exactly Debbie cheekbones, but I'll keep them.
Yeah, they're good. They're looking good.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that we mentioned it before, but Maria was just a huge international hit, and it's a beautiful song. And I think your brother wrote it, right?
Jimmy wrote Maria, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think Jimmy, once he entered the band, he wrote a lot of their incredible
Atomic.
Yes.
You know, I'm a EastEnders fan. I watch EastEnders faithfully. And yesterday, as I was watching it's a British soap opera.
Yeah.
I was watching EastEnders, and Atomic was playing in the background, and I thought,
And it's still going. EastEnders is still on.
EastEnders is still on.
Wow. I lived in England for 5 years, and I watched EastEnders.
It's on BritBox. You have to get BritBox.
Didn't Jimmy write Out in the Streets too from that record?
No, Out in the Streets was a Shangri-La's song.
Oh.
Yeah. That was a Shangri-La song. I don't know who wrote that. I think maybe Boyce and Hart or something like that wrote Out.
Oh, really? And did Shadow Morton produce that?
Maybe, yeah, for the Shangri-Las.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He wrote some stuff with Laura. I'm not sure what Laura you're
Jimmy wrote a song with Laura Davis called Slow Motion. It's on one of their albums. I forget which one. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Love Alago in the Dead Boys CBGB show. Had that DVD on repeat. You stuck out, almost bigger than Stiv. Well, young Alago, front row and center with Jody Rebello, right?
Yeah, all the time. We were there all the time. Loved Stiv.
Wow.
Well,
always full of shenanigans on stage. Didn't we use the clip of him pulling the bologna off of his shirt, blowing the snot in it, and then eating it? Yes, I think we did.
And he was such a sweetheart off stage, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that footage we got was we got from
Rod Swenson.
Wendy O. Williams, who passed from the Plasmatics, her husband Rod Swenson, right?
Yes. Yeah, who was the creator of the Plasmatics? You know,
he shot that footage, and there's another CB show he shot. Not sure that is sort of shot properly, because back then, in order to shoot something properly, you have to turn all the lights on. Like, in order to really do it right, you can't have these cameras back then. You know, we're not good in low light. So like those shows, like that CB's Dead Boy show, like the house lights had to have been up to shoot it. You know, and there's another show. I don't know if it's
was it the Plasmatics?
Could be the Plasmatics, or not the Dictators, or something else. Yeah. Well, yeah, of course. A lot of people, I'm sure, don't know about Lords of the New Church. Yeah. Well,
okay. Yeah. They were way ahead of their time. I love that band.
Yeah.
Brian James from The Damned.
Yeah. Lords of the New Church. Yep. That said, all right. Well, I don't know about you, but on the East Coast, but I'm getting hungry.
Wait, I was just going to say the same thing. I got to go make some pasta. So, Donna, I love you.
I love you more.
Lori, it's so nice getting to see more of you and talk.
I know, right?
Right. And Drew,
you know, we get into the same square together, you know?
I love being in the
like
square.
Hollywood Squares.
Yes. And Drew, you know I adore you. So everybody go eat and do your thing. Donna, I'll give you a bell. Lori, I'll be in November. And Drew, I'll probably talk to you later or tomorrow.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
You.
All right. Michael Alago, ladies and gentlemen.
Awesome.
Okay, Wes. Well, Wes would know he was in the Plasmatics. He shot Blondie, Dead Boys, and Ramones, and we used it as our opening act for some early shows. Okay, that makes sense. Is that right? There's a wild story of Wendy O. Williams shooting a shotgun on stage at CB's.
Really?
Ooh,
I never heard about that.
That sounds a little scary.
That does. Oh my God.
Yeah. That said, Lori, thank you. Anybody you want to thank? Anybody you want to shout out? And I just want to let everybody out there know that the Lori Dawn Art Show that you are all going to is all the way out, is out in Long Island in Huntington, home of Jerry Cooney. Tristan from ID lives there. So everybody get your butts down to or out to the Calling Bell.
Yes, November 17th.
All right. Anybody you want to thank or shout out?
So I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you for being on the show today, Donna. You are such an inspiration.
Nice to
really.
meet you. Yes.
And I always love meeting cool women, and especially cool women over 50. Let's go. So it's like, woo. And yeah, that's about it. So
All right.
Good
Thank
luck
you, Lori.
shout out to Women of the Pit.
Yeah, shout out to Women of the Pit. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, great.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye. There you have it, Lori
This was
Dawn.
fun. This was fun. Thank you, Drew.
My pleasure. It's let me see. Wait, before you go, do I have any, I always like to make sure I go through all the pictures. Okay, here's one that it's not greatest quality, but I like it because you're in the background there playing keyboards. I guess this is a fast.
Oh, we were in Toronto. Yeah. We were.
So you traveled with the Fast and played with them?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, that was fun.
Got it. That said, anybody you want to thank? Anybody you want to shout out?
Well, thank you so much for doing this. And of
pleasure.
course, Michael and Lori. Nice to meet Lori and Freddie Katz, who I owe a great debt to for producing and playing on this new project. So
fantastic. We will talk to you soon, Donna. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
You have a great rest of the night.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay.
There you have it. Another one in the can. Donna Destri. I hope you enjoyed it at least half as much as I did. It was great to see everybody around the world. You know what? We got a minute. As we have a minute. Any suggestions? Who would you like to see on the show? Even though we are slam booked for a couple of months, it was fun, and I always entertain bizarre suggestions. Who would you like to see on the show? Here you go. You got 2 minutes before I make my dinner and go out for exercise. Kenny Clark, San Diego represent. Love you, bro. I hope you're doing well. Thank you, Jose. Yes, it was a great show. But then again, we're in the business of doing great shows. Jim Jarmusch, good suggestion. Okay. Keith Morris. Well, Keith Morris, we got very close to having Keith. We'll get him. That'll happen. That'll happen. We'll get Keith Morris on the show. Sometimes these things take. Look, you know who took a really long time to get on the show? This guy, DMC. So that happened. So Dave Chandler from St. Vitus. That's a good one, Travis. That's a good one. Interesting Arthur Siegel about Elliot. I've talked to him about coming on the show. He's sort of like in the bullpen. He said he'd love to come on. He buys and sells. He's in the vintage guitar, and he's in the vintage instrument market these days. So Stanley from the Dickies, you think? That's a good one. Yo, what's up, Dom? Speaking of Staten Island, Freddie's been on the show. Freddie has been on the show. But we can bring him back. Danny Garcia has been on the show. Come on, bro, get with the program. Get into the YouTube archive and watch some of these shows. Danny Garcia has been on the show. Spike Jones. That'd be cool. It'd be difficult, though. I don't really have a connection to him. Ice-T. Well, we've tried. That's right, Rumble Seat Guitars. Tina from Talking Heads. Sure. Listen, you know what we say. Eventually, we're going to make our way to everyone on this planet. Everyone on this planet is eventually going to be. That's a good one. That's a good suggestion. You should do a show about past and present record stores in New York City, people's memories. I like doing, come on, bro. Danny Schuler's been on the show many times. That's a good one. I like doing shows like that, like record stores and. Oh, is that right? You're booked for episode 374,956? Yep. Yeah, Roy from Last Resort would be great. You know. That said, next up, we will see you in a couple of days with Andrew Vacante from Combust, one of the younger guys that really has hardcore in his heart. Combust is a great band. They've been at it for a couple years. Let's hear from someone, you know, somebody a little bit younger that's been in the game and just has hardcore. No, I don't think Bleecker Bob is still alive. I think Bleecker Bob passed a couple of years ago. So that said, hey, thank you everybody for tuning in today. It was a great show. I will see you in a couple days. Until then, do good things and good things will come to you.